to the Odds Breakers, the number one place for shared, sharp betting information.
Welcome back to Podcast 57-2018. I am your host, Kiev O'Neill. You can tweet me at The Public Dog, and you can tweet us at The Odds Breakers. Just watched my Badgers beat Xavier. Should be a quality win for them. I know Xavier's not ranked in this one set of rankings. I see them at 27th. They lost their guards, Makura and Trayvon Blewett, and they still got some big guys down there, and I think they're going to be ranked later. So this could be a quality win for the Badgers. Pretty happy about that. Didn't bet this game because I did not have a good feel for either team. Sometimes it's just better to not bet and watch this early in the season. A lot of things are not accurate yet. Ken Palm's not accurate. There's many things that need to, come to fruition. Sometimes, these teams with returning starters are overrated. I mean, you see that, and then everyone jumps on them, and they're wrong. There's just a lot of variance here. So, you got to look where your new coaches are, and are the new coaches any good? A lot of times people fade new coaches, but sometimes the new coaches might be an upgrade. So we always have to think about that and, put it into your handicap. I'm still more focused on football, but I'm sprinkling in plays for our members. It's a busy time of season right now. You have to follow your ABCs, just like in sales. ABC, always be capping, right? It's a busy time of year. And speaking of capping, we are looking for more handicappers at the Odds Breakers. We are expanding our website. It's going to be newspaper article based. There's going to be a lot more free picks in all sports out from our handicappers. And, we're just growing this thing. If you want to get your name out there, please contact us through theoddsbreakers.com, and we'll see if we can help you out and help us out at the same time. If you're looking for a sportsbook, please visit mybookie.ag. Use the promo code TheOddsBreakers for a one-time 50% bonus. Terms and conditions apply. If you're looking to help us out, well, we would like to help you out. Please visit theoddsbreakers.com and become a member and a patron subscriber for $12.99 a month, which is going to switch very soon. All the old members will be locked in at that rate forever, minus, cost of living. And you'll get our picks before the line moves, as well as the podcast a little early. So please do that. And if nothing else, please visit theoddsbreakers.com. Subscribe to our free picks newsletter. Let's get right into some plays, shall we? We have a very good show for you today. Obviously, we're going to go over our college plays. Cub fan Danny, I believe, is back, which has been killing it in the NFL. And we're going to try to get him back on and talk to him about some of his NFL picks with ours as well. Let's get started here. Michigan State versus Nebraska. This is really the tale of two teams in a nutshell. One's been a disappointment down the stretch. One's been motivated down the stretch to get better for next year. One team is great on offense, bad on defense. One team is great on defense and bad on offense. And I think you know which teams we're talking about here if you watch college football. Yards per play, you have Nebraska 6.5 on offense, giving up 6.2 on defense. Michigan State 4.9 on offense and giving up 4.8 on defense. That gives Nebraska a slight edge in net yards per play. The fact that Michigan State was just devastated and their revenge spot against Ohio State makes me like the spot for Nebraska. It does. The fact that Michigan State lost their top wide receiver earlier this year, Felton Davis, a few weeks back, and just lost their top running back, L.J. Scott, last week, out for the season. I think the rest here is gravy, and that's huge for Nebraska. There's a quarterback controversy brewing here in Michigan State between Brian Lewerke and Rocky Lombardi. I think that's a game changer here. Nebraska's hungry. Take the points. Take the money line. Do it early. Nebraska, I got the 2 points. I'm not sure what it's at right now. I think that it's around there. So, next game, Virginia versus Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech laying 6.5 here. Well, Georgia Tech's had a nice run in the ACC lately, and a very nice win against the Hurricanes, right? I mean, that was a huge win, I think. But, I guess this is time for the letdown spot after beating Miami. If there's one thing that Bronco Mendenhall knows how to do from his days in the Mountain West, coaching BYU, it's to stop the triple option, okay? The Cavaliers are only allowing 4.2 yards per rush, all right? Only 4.2 in a tough ACC conference. Well, pretty tough, right? It's a Power 5. Well, the Yellow Jackets allow about 4.3. The key here is that Virginia can throw the ball when needed. So I expect both these teams to stop the run. And Bryce Perkins averages 7.6 yards per attempt for Virginia, 64% completion. That's pretty high. Georgia Tech this year on offense, they rarely throw the ball. When they're down, they do. They average a dismal 49% completion percentage, 4-4 touchdown to interception ratio. So the handicap here is simple for me. Virginia stopped the triple option, win the game, right? And we'll take a look at the total as well as on this game. But we're taking Virginia plus the 6.5 points. Kansas versus Oklahoma. Oklahoma is laying 36.5 points. If you look at the past Oklahoma versus Kansas spreads, that's about right. Kansas is kind of like the group of 5 team in a Power 5 conference, right? Well, I'm not so sure if that's right anymore, though, because Kansas has done a bit better this year, and I think they deserve a pass. They're not that juggernaut in football, of course, we know that, right? And I got to tell you, if Oklahoma wasn't looking ahead to West Virginia and they needed this win, I might not be on this game. So this is a sandwich spot. Let's face it. Oklahoma's got done facing Oklahoma State. Barely won that game. Emotional ending. They went for 2, Oklahoma State, and they lost. They didn't get it, now Oklahoma won. Now they have West Virginia on the docket. That's going to likely cost one of these teams playoff berth or possibly the Big 12 championship. This is the definition of a sandwich spot here, right? This one, like I said, this is not one of those bad Kansas teams. The Jayhawks are averaging 0.3 yards per play and 4 points more on offense, more than they did last year. It's pretty significant. But on defense, they average 0.4 yards per play and 15 points better than last year. So this is like a last year type spread, yet I think it's more of this thing should be more like 24, 26, right? Lincoln Riley would be crazy to keep his starters in if he's up by 21 points going into the second half. I can see backdoors. I can see all kinds of situations here where Kansas easily covers this spread. Kansas, take the points, plus 36.5, all right? Oregon State versus Washington. Washington laying another 32.5 points, right? Huge spread again, but another ugly, smelly dog. I'm not betting Oregon State because they're a good team, right? I'm not. They give up 7.5 yards per play, one of the worst defenses in the league, probably top 10. But I'm betting them because I just know something about the Washington Huskies, right? The Dogs have a huge tendency to play down to their opponent. And Chris Peterson isn't a blowout coach. He's a respectable type coach. He doesn't blow out teams, and he has no reason to. Let's look at the easier teams that he played. When they played Colorado, they only won by 14. When they played Cal, they lost by 2, right? 10-12. When they played UCLA, they only won by 7. When they played ASU, which is a better team, you know that, but they only won by 7. And when they played BYU, they had complete control of the game, but let off and won by 28. So you see, they're not trying to blow anyone out, and they're going to take their foot off the gas in the fourth quarter. Oregon State at least can score points. They average 27.5 points per game, 5.4 yards per play. You know, they can at least put up some points here. And this is a huge look-ahead spot to the Apple Cup. Huge. I have Washington by 29 points-ish in the power ratings. But like I said, this is a pure look-ahead spot to the Apple Cup. And a huge game against Washington State. We're taking the points here again. 32.5. Take the points. Tulane versus Houston, -10. Houston laying 10, 10.5-ish in some books. We give it out a 10. This is a get-up spot for Houston, okay? And we have to look at what they do well in this handicap. They score a ton of points, right? Running at 5.6 yards per rush, 7.1 yards per play. That's top team. They also stop the run, 3.9 yards per run. That's really good. Their weakness is against the pass, as we've seen against SMU. But here's the handicap. Tulane, on the other hand, they can't throw the ball well at all. They can't. They're like an option team. They rank 110th in passing yards out of 130 teams, and they only pass 33% of the time. Like I said, they have that option, and unless they're down a lot of points, they might not pass it at all. Being that they run the ball, they are playing into Houston's strength of stopping the run, and that's why I love the handicap here. If they're a passing team and a bad running team, then this might be a shootout, and you don't know what's going to happen. But this plays into Houston's strengths. Home game at Houston. This win for Houston will clinch the American Athletic Conference West, and I think they put one on Tulane here. I'm taking Houston minus the 10 points. I think that's a great play. Arizona versus Washington State. Washington State laying minus 10. Well, I think if you saw what I did with Oklahoma and Washington, you know what's going to happen here, right? This game may be a really exciting one. This Arizona team hasn't been putting up the numbers that they did last year. They haven't. And but I think it's because they had that new coach in Sumlin, and he changed some things. But over the last few games, Khalil Tate decided to kind of just take over. He's healthier now. He's hungry for an upset. Over the last 3 games, both of these teams have averaged over 76 plays per game, and they've been pouring on some serious offense. Arizona over that stretch is averaging 39 points per game again. It's like last year's Arizona, right? And they played some decent teams. Oregon, UCLA, Colorado, middle of the road Pac-12 teams. Okay? Washington State, on the other hand, is the class of the Pac-12. They average 38 points per game and over 6.2 yards per play. Washington State has that Apple Cup coming up, huge game, and this may have college football playoff implications. All signs point to look ahead to Washington. They may have forgotten that this Khalil Tate-led team scored 37 against them last year. The final score was 58-37. Revenge spot for Arizona. This is dangerous.